friends that are here. And as rightly pointed out, we have the team leader who happens to be Commodore Abu. I don't know why he didn't complete it as Abubakar. I would have said you are my namesake. So, and the team leader of this same delegation is Air Commodore MJ Aliu. Like rightly pointed out by the MCs, these are 1-star and 2-star generals in the country. Don't be surprised tomorrow you will see one of them as the Chief of Defense Staff. And don't forget me, sir. So thank you with that. I want to thank my Vice Chancellor for giving me this opportunity to speak to this highly placed delegation from, formerly I think it was called the War College, and now Nigerian Defense College, and also the team from the state, permanent secretaries here present and the rest. Good morning. Let's now run down to the business of the day. The role of science and technology in industrialization in Kebbi State. Like rightly pointed out by Commodore Abu, he said this team are going around some part of the countries so that they will be able to bring or develop strategic plan for this country. Not just for the state, they are just going around to get information and then they'll go back together and begin to bring strategic plans for the state, which is very good for Nigeria today. Even though I have to state it clearly, Nigeria is a country that are very good in writing policies, but when it comes to implementation, we fall back. Sir, our rednecks, please, I'll see that you work towards that so that we write and implement. With that, I start my introduction. The role of science and technology in industrialization. My VC rightly pointed out that there is no business of technology if there is no industrialization. The same thing, there is no business for science if there is no technology. What is science itself and what is technology? For a layman, so that we don't go into these dictionaries, Einstein's definitions and the rest. Science simply means knowledge and discovery. That is science, knowledge and discovery. Why technology itself is that application of knowledge is technology. So you have done the discovery, now technology have to apply that knowledge that is obtained from the technology. Now industrialization, or sometimes we now call innovation, is the organizing of technology for production. That is where engineers come into place. They gather all the knowledge that scientists have put into place, technology harnesses them, and then engineers begin to produce products from what scientists have discovered and the knowledge they have put into place. So the ladder starts with the scientist, which is me, and it ends with my vice chancellor, who is an engineer. That is how industrialization starts. So key roles of science and technology in nation building first. Why is science and technology very important? Science and technology is important when you begin to look at these key points. Sorry. Economic development. It drives economic growth. That is true. Science and technology. I will set examples later. Education and knowledge increases intellectual capacity. With science and technology, our capacity grows. I'm not saying those in social sciences or political science or business administration do not contribute to knowledge development. No. It's all a web that is designed together. Healthcare, it leads to new drugs discoveries, extend life expectancies, infrastructure and connectivity, enhances communication systems. Agriculture contributes to food security. A nation without food is in trouble. National security and defense. Science and technology is the key currently in national security and defense. We shouldn't play with it. So Kebbi State at a glance, because our team is in Kebbi State. Kebbi State is mostly an agrarian society or agrarian topography, meaning that we are vastly into agriculture because it's agrarian. So mostly what you meet in Kebbi State or what you see in Kebbi State is agriculture fishing, and trading. Manufacturing industry based mostly small scale and agro-based industries. The rice mills, 2 heavy rice mills that we have in Kebbi State, and other small-scale rice mills. That are the biggest industries we have in Kebbi State. Now, like I said, Kebbi State is mostly agrarian topography, and that is why we are mostly into agriculture. Now, importance of science and technology. We all know during Baba Buhari's regime, they came out with what we call the Nigeria Agenda 2050. And in the Agenda 2050, the driving force for that agenda is STI, science, technology, and innovation. That agenda can only be achieved if we give science, technology, and innovation policies a global look, a pulse, a push to achieve Agenda 2050. In that agenda, like I earlier said, we write beautiful principles. If you go through this national policy, this national agenda of 2050, you see beautiful written policies on how we can achieve things here and there. But the challenge now is, are we putting those implementation in place? So, engine of productivity and innovation is importance of science and essential for global competitiveness. We are having serious problems with our naira. And basically, those in business administration and economics who want to argue or want to say yes, they are in support of what I'm going to say. The biggest challenge of our naira today is because we don't export. And because we don't export, our naira will continue to fall. But when we produce from science and technology, ideas of science, we begin to send exports to outside, the value of the naira will now gain. And that is a plus for the country, whether it's a state level or the national level. So support national development plans and goals. Role of science in industrialization now, because the issue is about how do we industrialize. Industrialization drives research and discovery, supports material process innovation. For example, if the team here will, after our presentation here, will spare just 5 minutes. As I speak currently, we have a research student currently who is producing gas with waste material, plastic, this pure water leather, and gas is being produced with diesel fuel from waste material. These are the kind of ideas that are supposed to be supported, giving incentives or tax incentives so that we now build up industries. But one of the challenges is that we lack what we call the university-industry collaboration. There is no collaboration between universities and industries. Most of, I'll jump a little bit. If you go to Malaysia today, most of the industries and products produced in Malaysia, where research is carried out by Nigerians. Nigerians carried out this research in Malaysia, and they have used those products to create industries in their country. What are we doing in Nigeria? Rather, in Nigeria, we are interested in publications. Because of the system. The system have said if you don't publish, you will not get promoted. So nobody is interested to put out publications there to get it to an industrial level. Rather, I'm interested in writing a paper and get published. And once you get published, it's gone. That story is all over. It's gone. Like the story I just mentioned, somebody who is just producing gas from waste material. I tell you right now that after that research is finished, the end of that research will be a publication, either in a Q1, Q2 journal, and that research will be backed. Because the support for it to move from that level to a technology level, then to the industrialization level. Role of technology industrialization, mechanization and automation, ICT for efficiency and marketing, digital tools like my VC earlier mentioned is key. And how do you get digital tools? It's through science and technology. Use of ICT in supply chain and market linkages in small and medium enterprises. Innovation and entrepreneurship. States like Kebbi State should begin to think of creating what we call hubs or startup hubs. What are hubs and startup hubs? It's creating where young, brilliant minds can go and say, I have this innovation, put it in place, and those in charge of those hubs will look at it, look at the feasibility of moving from that level to the industrial level. So if we don't have such hubs, youths and people who have brilliant minds, brilliant things to do with their brain will just think about it, do a prototype that now will be packed later at the back of their house. So we should create startup hubs within the state. No matter how small the state is, no matter the revenue of the state, but create startup hubs we begin to have, and then from there we can begin to draw investors to come and look at this startup, these hubs that students have created, brilliant minds have created, and then be able to create industries. We need to commercialize research. If we don't commercialize research, we will still remain at the level I'm still speaking. Do your research, publish it, and dump the research. But when you commercialize research, you know that if I do this research, I'll be getting incentive from an industry for doing this research, and I get patented. You do a work, that work belongs to you, it's now a patent, and when an industry, you now get some percentage for the patent of the work you have done. That is what we'll be looking at. That is what Nigeria as a whole, not just Kebbi State, should be aiming at. State government grants. The government should be able to put out grants for people who have ideas or any innovation, come out, apply for such grants. People will look at the grant, is it feasible? No, look at your proposal, is it feasible? If it is feasible, then they approve and give you the grant. And then continue to monitor what that researcher is doing. If at the end of the day something good comes out from the research, you move it to the next level, and then probably industrialization. Capacity building. As we talk about industrialization, we need to train even the youths, specialists out there, science specialists, engineering specialists, and we should begin to gather youth and train them, building technical and vocational skills for industrial workforce. I know the National University Commission is trying as much as possible to overhaul the curriculum so that the curriculum itself will be learning skills that will benefit you outside the university. The old curriculum is just theoretical, getting knowledge every day. How do you move that theory to practice and put them into technological development is one of our challenges. The world has moved on, that is what we don't do anymore. If you travel outside the country, America, Europe, Asia, it is no more theory. In fact, China that you see today that do, if you want anything you want in this world, go to China, it will be done. The reason is simple. When China noticed that, look, we need to go into serious infrastructural development and technology, they stopped university and polytechnic education for 7 years. And what were they doing? Only skills development. It was after they have amassed enough skills in different fields, compulsory, that every person coming from the primary school must learn how to do woodwork, electrical, and motor mechanic. So every child that graduates from the primary school knows 3 skills. What do we have in Nigeria? It's not just Kebbi State. What do we have in Nigeria? How many of our children from the primary school can tell you, I have this skill? Not just the primary, even the secondary school. What skill do our children have? No skill, rather they have grammar. It's about skills. The world has moved on. Any country that is left behind, you don't go and get skills, you still continue to remain a third world country, or probably they shift to relegate you to a fourth world country. My participants, you are key to changing these policies. And I believe it will be done. Universities should begin to think of their role in training youths with support of the government. We know in America they say, think of what you can do for your country before you think of what you want to do for yourself. Unfortunately, that same slogan in Nigeria is think of what you will do for yourself before you think of what you do for Nigeria. So if we begin to revolutionize our mind and change our mindset and begin to think that way, that what do we do for our country before you begin to think of what you want to put in your pocket, we will develop. but that is one of our biggest challenge. How do we link theory to practice? The Vice Chancellor said it, that they are engineers, they are waiting for people to begin to change this theory into practice. As far as I know, the scientists in the country have done more than enough. But the biggest challenge is how do we move those theory we have done, those teachings, how do we now convert them to industrialization is our biggest challenge. I will still repeat, and I want my participants to repeat this before to those who matters to hear. Over 50% of the industries in Malaysia are built based on the ideas of Nigerians. I can confidently tell you that I have a friend who I worked with under the engineering department who went to Malaysia with Egusi. There is no Egusi in Malaysia. He went to Malaysia with Egusi, did a research with Egusi. As I speak to you currently, in Malaysia, they use Egusi to do engine oil, body oil, different type of fuels. They have an industry currently, and they have started planting Egusi in thousands of hectares. The same story with the same Malaysia. When Buhari was then head of state, as a military head of state, may his soul rest in peace. The same Malaysia came to Nigeria to ask for palm kernel. Palm kernel, where Buhari was the one that gave them palm kernel seeds. Today, Malaysia is #1 exporter of oil, red oil, in the world, followed by Indonesia. Industrialization, not just the knowledge. We are very good with knowledge. If you see our students going out of this country and see what they do, you'll be shocked. They have the knowledge. Nigerians are very brilliant, they are gifted. But how do we convert this knowledge to technology? And industrialization is our biggest challenge. So, for policies, we begin to think of power, roads, internet, support industrial policies, incentives for innovation, energy, transport, and digital infrastructure, importance of supportive policies, tax incentives. If somebody says he wants to open an industry today in Kebbi State, the government should begin to think of, okay, if you are supposed to pay 20% tax, pay 15. The government has taken 5 from you. It's an incentive. He will be happy to start up that industry. Then the role of Kebbi State government as federal agency. Case study, like I told you, Kano leather industry. Kano is good. However, that industry has been affected because of power. Malaysia agro-based industry. Look, this is palm kernel. This is palm kernel that they borrowed or they collected from Nigeria. Lagos Tech ecosystem. These systems have worked. Our challenge here, which is the challenge all over the country, not just Kebbi State. Weak research and development and innovation funding, limited technical skills, low investment in research and development, poor technology transfer, limited collaboration between academia and industry, inadequate infrastructure and power supply. Let's have this triple model of industrialization and we will move on. The government, the industry, the university. If these three will create a very strong partnership, we are getting there. If there is a fallout of any from these three, we will not get there. So let us look at policies where we will tie these three together. I call it the triple model of industrialization. Opportunities and ways forward. Opportunities we can get. Linkages, capacity building and the rest. Strategic recommendations. So these are strategic recommendations now that the team will look at and maybe do a note and present. And then in conclusion, science plus technology is equal to industrial power. Invest in science, empower technology, industrialize Kenya. Science and technology is the foundation of sustainable industrialization. Science and technology is not luxury, they are necessity for progress. Part of sustainable industrialization lies in transforming natural resources into knowledge-driven industries. The government should invest in research, support innovation, and empower the youths. This will pave way for an economy that creates, competes, and endure. Eshebubo, Nagode, Galo, Niepti. Nsuwo, and Nika. Thank you very much for listening, my course participants.
Thank you very much, Professor Abubakar YAKUBU from Physics Department. He has made a very wonderful presentation. May we please put our hands together. I believe he has done justice to the topic. He has said it all: the need for partnership and collaboration, the role of government, private organization, as well as the university as a center of academic excellence. If come together, they can really make it possible for globalization and industrialization, actualization in Nigeria and even beyond Nigeria. At this juncture, it is my great